It's important to go from a desert-looking dump to a nice vegetated dump, also because of these image problems. So risk-based decision-making differs from classic decision-making because risk and uncertainty are all explicitly taken into account, as well as the stochastic nature of the cost. Differs completely from approaches like NPV, which are standard in all industry, which all of a sudden, by magic, becomes very deterministic. Everything is numbers and is fixed numbers, and nobody gives a damn anymore about uncertainties and risks. And they forget that preventing generally costs 3 times less than afterthoughts. Fixing is 3 times more expensive than prevention. Decision-making includes also people focusing on the end result, like this is a very large mining operation in South America, where people were focusing on the stability, and rightly so, on the stability of the pit. And then they were focusing on the safety of very expensive equipment, and for a long while they forgot about the safety of the only link they have with the outside world, which is a road heavily trafficked by chemical trucks and hydrocarbon trucks, which turned out to have very serious risks all along its layout. Now, we have just seen what risk-based decision-making can be, but let's take a look at possible outcomes of decisions. An overvaluation of hazards and risks can make us motionless. In business, it means being obsolete and inactive. Being positive is nice, however, don't forget long-term sustainability. You can, therefore, if you do so, you will prevent intolerable losses. This is a good example. Long-term, is it sustainable on the long run to keep adding ballast on the truck as it keeps sliding? Well, apparently not, because they abandoned one truck and then they started exactly the same story on the second one, and then another one, and then another one. Being prepared is nice, but being over-precautious can ruin your activity. It's not very fun to go to the beach and behave like that, right? If we look at the large demining problem, demining means taking away land mines or unexploded ordnance from a country. This is an example from Laos, which was the most heavily bombed country in the world. NGO, non-governmental agencies, go there and they try to demine and clear all the unexploded ordnance. Statistically, 60% of the time they go to the wrong place. Wrong place means they find nothing. They've been to a piece of land which is actually clean. By developing a risk analysis, which is a little tool that can be held on a palm top, we can cut the mistake by 2. And it's way simple. It's so simple that people refuse to use it, saying it was too simple, it couldn't work, until they actually performed the test on 500 properties. Knowing about hazards is important, but we don't need to know everything about them. Sometimes it's impossible, and too much curiosity can lead to disaster. Actually, the sustainability of the project is enhanced when you only study the appropriate level of information. For example, let's go back to a bombed country. This is again Laos. What you see on this picture is a map of the bombing that the US released over Laos. Can we do something about this by looking at this map? Not really, because this is where the bombs were dropped 20,000 meters above in the sky. We don't know where they landed, actually. We don't know how many actually exploded on contact. So we need something else. First of all, we need to acknowledge that there are people that are living for the last 20 years behind the line that is supposed to mark the bombed area. The little red flag there with a skull on says, don't go any farther because it's hazardous, and you can see that there is a village behind it. We also don't need to know everything about all the possible ammunition that you can find there. It's too detailed. But by applying proper risk analysis, we can draw a country-wide risk map and therefore allocate way better the resources. So Matt can ask for independent, unbiased, external professional decision-making advice. Now, any resemblance with anybody you might see today is absolutely fortuitous. And this guy is named Cope, Rhys Cope, and he said, feed them. You were thinking something very nasty, huh? And indeed, he fed them. And the study showed him that wasted bread would keep Al-Zar busy enough for him to spend a good afternoon without all the inconvenience. What is the morale of this little story? The morale is that risk-based decision-making enables community, governments, design groups, corporations to compare and evaluate projects in a transparent and objective way. The ultimate goal of risk-based decision-making is to increase chances of winning decisions, pertinent choices, industrial success when comparing projects or alternatives. The most logical approach is risk-based decision-making because operational risks impact decisions, and operating means deciding. Thank you.